All right, what we're going to do is take a look at using Twitter, like the one-on-one, the basics of Twitter. And just to get started here, you go to twitter.com and you can, you don't have to actually sign up for Twitter. You can use like a web page and just search for something. So I can search for Algebra 2, and you'll see all kinds of posts that have Algebra 2 in them. All right, so you can search for science or English or writing or reading, whatever the case may be, or elementary. All right, so you can use Twitter as a search engine and never ever sign up for it. All right, but I wouldn't recommend that. What I would highly recommend is when you go to twitter.com is sign up. And I already have a username and account, so I'm just going to hit log in here. And when you sign up, you're going to create what's known as a handle. That's the @ symbol. All right, that's used if I wanted to tweet at somebody, like say Chris McCaffrey. All right, I could just start typing at Chris McCaffrey, and here he is. All right, that is to get his attention. So he'll get a notice to say, hey, Dan Kaufman tweeted at you, and he wants you to see what this article or this video or this quote, whatever the case may be. When you create this handle, make sure it has some flexibility. So for example, don't include your classroom number or the building or school district that you work at. Those things might change, and you want your Twitter handle to have some flexibility. You don't want to have to create a whole new Twitter account if your role changes, okay? Also, you only have 140 characters when you tweet. All right, it's sometimes difficult to get an entire quote or whatever your thought is in 140 characters. So when you create this handle, all right, I didn't use Daniel Kaufman because I have a really long first last name. All right, I'm using, if someone wants to tweet at me, if I use Daniel Kaufman, it's going to eat into these characters, which are kind of like Twitter currency, we'll call them. All right, so try and find a handle that's unique, but also not a ton of characters as well. All right, so the next part. So suppose I wanted to tweet at Chris McCaffrey. Hey, Chris McCaffrey. Oops. You'll also see in Twitter hashtags. I might say something like, check out this post, all right, whatever the case may be. And I'll put a link there to some kind of post. What I'll also include here is maybe a hashtag. So I might put hashtag SCMath. That's a hashtag that Chris and I use a lot for student-centered math. Whenever we're talking about mathematics and making posts, we'll usually include that. Hashtags are labels. Think of them as labels. So suppose you had a recipe Rolodex where you keep all your recipes, and you had a spot for crock pot items, but you also had a spot for entrees, and you had a spot for breakfast items and desserts. All right, that's what hashtags are. They're labels. They put things into certain places. The problem we run into with a recipe Rolodex is that if you have a crock pot item that's also a breakfast, you have to choose one of those for it to go into. All right, with hashtags, when you use them, you can use more than one. So I could put hashtag SCMath, but I can also put hashtag education or hashtag culture of learning, COL chat. That way, if anybody's searching for any one of these hashtags, which you can just do, you can search for hashtags, they'll find my post. All right, so think of your hashtags as ways of organizing your posts, and the handles are a way to reach out to specific users. All right, also when you post, I mentioned that the number of characters is like a currency. Instead of the word teachers, you'll probably start seeing capital T and a lowercase s, right? Instead of the word students, you'll see a capital S and lowercase s. Even things like the word with, a lot of times we shorten that to a W and a /. You can just use a W instead. People understand that, and the more you use Twitter, it might be kind of clunky at first, but think of it like your new grading program. That's clunky at first, but you figure it out. You'll eventually just start to read right through these abbreviations. All right, so I cannot recommend that anymore. Start using Twitter. It's the only way to become comfortable with using Twitter. All right, and at first, if you just want to browse around, that's fine. But start making some tweets. Post what you're doing in your classroom. All right. The other thing you'll see too is, suppose I have this inquiry. I keep track of inquiry ideas. Whenever I get them, I kind of put them in one location. This URL is really long. All right. If I copy this and I go to Twitter and I say, hey, Chris McCaffrey, check out these inquiry ideas, and I paste that URL. That URL kind of takes up the entire post. It makes it, I don't say messy, I guess. What you can do instead is you can shorten this URL. And there's a ton of web pages that'll do shortened URLs. Tiny URL, tiny.cc, bit.ly, the Google URL shortener. I prefer the Google URL shortener extension, which is this guy right here. Just do a search for the Google URL shortener extension and you'll find it. The picture kind of reminds me of WinZip. It's a little cube inside of a vise or clamp. What I could do is just click on the URL shortener extension, and this is now the shortened URL to this document, whatever tab's showing. Right, you can hit copy, or it actually copies it automatically to your clipboard, and then go back to your tweet and paste that, and it just makes for a cleaner tweet. All right. Be aware though that some districts do block all shortened URLs, so just be aware of that. All right. So my recommendation moving forward is to sign up, create a handle, and then also get some tweets out there. All right. Good luck.